Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have here an article that I think shows the cynicism, the accepted cynicism of Ukrainska Pravda. Actually, I think quoting the Ukraine's defense intelligence, that is the part of the government, an agency, governmental agency, where it seems like they trivialize killing people. And regardless who does that, that's not right. And I will make some analogies with other groups that were at the receiving end and were considered cockroaches and pests that needs to be, taken care of. And that was not right. And remember, they, which is the Germans, those Germans, if you know what I mean, used all kind of euphemisms to say, well, we have to clean the house from these rats, these cockroaches, and so on. And that was dehumanizing, Jesus Christ, dehumanizing a group, which is obviously wrong and dangerous because it led to the Holocaust of the Second World War of many groups that that ideology, and some people did. The gypsies, the political prisoners, Jews, and all the rest of homosexuals, and so on. So now we have the Ukrainians celebrating and ridiculing or using certain kind of words of the same as the other guys use. Let me show you. You're gonna understand immediately as soon as I read you this title. Russians receive explosive gift. They make jokes. In occupied Enerhodar, Ukraine's defense intelligence. So the Ukrainians blew up something and they call it a gift. Now imagine that you would have the Russians in, let's say, conquering some Ukrainian territory and would go to a city, or they would go to a village, and they will start, doing some bad stuff to the women population, female population. And they would call that horrible act, as we provided some love. We gave the Ukrainians women what the Ukrainian men were incapable of doing. We had a little bit of a little party. What if that would be described as such? That would be horrible, wouldn't it be? That means these guys look at the women population as really, really something that is. So I think this is not quite the same, but it's this explosive gift. They're making jokes about taking out some of their enemies. Now you can do that, but I can also judge that. Okay, why? Because we all have principles, we all have values. They have values. So if that's acceptable and you make jokes, then why wouldn't it be acceptable then for the other guys talking as I said? Obviously that's wrong. I think it's wrong. Now, as much payback that you would like to inflict or hatred you would have for your enemies, try to keep your humanity. Otherwise, things will escalate to genocides and other things. And you claim those guys dehumanizing, and then it's dangerous, because you are accused as having the same ideology that those guys had in the 1930s and 1940s in Germany. And by saying this kind of thing, shows me that you have no, how do we call that, consideration for human life, being your enemy, and you're a Christian too. Maybe it's just me, maybe I just see it a little bit jumpy, but so the local resistance movement in the temporarily occupied city of Enerhodar, Zaporozhye Oblast, and special forces of the Chief Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine have presented the Russians with a special gift, like the Russians presented the Ukrainian women with a special gift. Imagine that those guys will talk in the same terms. On the Russian Day of Federal Migration Services Workers, the number of casualties is being established. All right? It is noted that on the Day of Workers of the Federal Migration Service of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation, a drone delivered an explosive gift, all right on time for the festive dinner, which was organized in a room repurposed for the so-called Department of... So they were having a dinner. They had some festivities, and they provided an explosive gift. The same. Do you understand? I think I don't have to make it clearer than that. Imagine the Russians talking about the Ukrainian women, providing them with some loving and some manhood. Huh? Now, as a result of the hit, a fire broke out in the room and several ambulance crews arrived in the building. Intelligence officers note that the Russian radio communications center located on a technical floor of the 14-story building was hit almost simultaneously. And I'm quoting, another gift was received by the officers of the occupation army who settled in 2 cottages that they had taken over the outskirts of the city. The number of the invaders' casualties is being established. The civilian population was not affected, according to you. But why don't we ask the victims? Are the Russians equal with the other guys? Or no, the Russians will lie, but these guys will not lie. A lot of victims are on the Ukrainian side. Do you think there's a lot of civilian victims on the Russian side? If not, okay, then go and watch CNN. All right, or The View, or Colbert, and other idiots. Okay, go ahead, go with them. Bye-bye, see you, never. Anyway, my friends, if you are still here, that means, obviously we're geniuses here, you and I, okay? No, but look at it. And remember, the Germans were referring to the certain kind of groups in those times, as I said, pests, rats, cockroaches, things that you have to fleas, that you have to get rid of, cleanse yourself of. No, I understand the hatred is high and so on, but this tells me that you trivialize that. You make it as a fun, as we're gonna just... And if you have this kind of attitude, remember, those guys probably, I don't know, they have mothers, fathers, as you have, children and so on. Anyway, this works in reverse, okay? So it's not that I'm defending the Russians or something. The same is true for the Russians. The same, if they do that, and when they do that, I'm pretty sure they do that too, okay? This is life. I mean, come on, my friends. If they do, and when they do that, the same thing. The same thing applies for both sides. But I just happened to see this, and I was like, these guys, because this is the problem, the issue, what irritates me. These guys are supposed to be the perfect defenders, victims, do no wrong, their shit doesn't stink, and so on. No, they're not. They are not. Nobody is, unless Jesus Christ is back here and walks among us. Okay? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.